right, everybody, welcome to the NBC Game of the Week. I am not 100% ready as I got kind of snafu'd on what I was doing, and I actually printed off the score sheet from the previous game on Friday the 21st. So we're actually going to play the Friday the 21st game. It's a much better pitching matchup anyway. Hello, Ernest. Hello, Kenyon. And hello, Brian. So we're actually going to go with the 21st. And that is going to be Boston and Kansas City with Eckersley against Splitorff. So we're actually going to go with that game versus what was on the 22nd because I didn't print the right score sheet. So it happens. I was in a hurry, trying to get a lot of things done this morning before. I was trying to get my honeydew list done before I came here, but sometimes that doesn't always work out. So I'm in the middle of getting my Royals all lined up and make sure I have all those players here. I haven't, full disclosure, I have not messed with season tickets since the All-Star game, so all those players were still on the All-Star rosters. So I just finished putting all the Kansas City and Boston people back on their teams, and now I'm putting Kansas City's lineup in order. So I don't have this. Brian B., I was unable or forgot or whatever the case may be, got too much stuff going on, and don't have the lineup boards for this game as far as the benches and bullpen, but I can certainly show them for those that are interested. Let's see, we got Patek and we got White. Okay. All right, so it's Paul Splitorff against Dennis Eckersley. This game was played July 21st, not 22nd. It was played on a Friday. Hello, Allard. Good to see you. I am using Diamond Mine Baseball to go in and get the bench players for each team so I know who's available and who's not. So I'm filling out now for the Royals. There's John Wathen. There he is. Got to have him there. UL Washington. Let's see, Steve Braun and Jerry Terrell. So no Al Cowens in this game. He's not on the roster. So there'll be no Al Cowens. As we go to the pitchers, bear with me while I'll take a minute or so to get these pitchers straight. I don't want to use a bullpen pitch. I don't want to bring a guy in to the bullpen that's going to start a game coming up. So I want to make sure I got the right guys in here. Bird's not on the roster. Mingori is available. Marty Patton's available. Al Raboski's available. Not Gale because he's going to get ready to start. Some guy named Randy McGilberry. Never heard of him, but he's available. And that might be it. Gura. Yeah, Gura's available in the bullpen as well. Okay, that's enough guys. We got enough guys in the bullpen. Don't need to overdo it. All right. I will be better prepared next Saturday, I promise you. It's just been a hectic week. It's hard to believe it can be hectic when you're retired, but just a lot of family things going on and whatnot that kind of threw me off guard. All right, so let's look at the benches and bullpen. Since I don't have them printed out, I will show you who is actually available so that you can kind of, if you want to follow along, you can manage along with me if you like. I don't know. For the Royals, they have Joe Zed, John Wathen, and Jerry Terrell from the right-hand side. We have one lefty, Steve Braun, and two switch hitters, UL Washington and Willie Wilson. So those are the bench guys for the Royals. As I said, there's no Freddie Patek. I'm sorry, there's no Al Cowens. He is not on the roster. In the bullpen, they have two right-handers. They have Marty Patton and some guy named Randy McGilberry that I've never heard of. And then three lefties. You've got Larry Gura, Steve Mingori, and Al Rabowski. So those are the players that could be available for the Royals in this game at some point. For the Red Sox, no Rick Burleson. He is not on the roster. They have Frank Duffy playing short in this game. So right-handed action, you got Fred Kendall. You got Bob Montgomery and Bob Bailey. Lefty side, you got Jack Brohammer and Gary Hancock. Those are the bench players available for Boston. In their bullpen, one left-hander, Tom Bergmeyer. Everybody else is right-handed. Alan Ripley, believe it or not, Dick Draco, Bill Campbell, and Bob Stanley. So those are all the pertinent players that are available. We are at Royal Stadium. I do have the correct stadium here. We're in July for a day game. So the average temperature is 70, or the base temperature is 75 degrees. If we roll the 3D10, the 2D10s and the D6 and get higher than 13 to get us to 89 degrees, then we'll get an extra boost on the deep drive, but that's going to take that. So we'll see what happens here. We get a total of 15, so that's going to bring us up to 90 degrees. So there is now a +1 on the deep drives. So I got to remember that +1 on all deep drives. We'll have a +1 because we're, according to the weather temperature, we're at 90 degrees. So the artificial turf will be steaming here in late July at Royal Stadium. There is the score sheet with the starting lineup for the Red Sox. It's Remy, Evans, Rice, Yastrzemski, Fisk, Lynn, Scott, Hobson, and Duffy. And for the Royals, it will be Brett, McRae, Lecoq, Otis, Porter, Hurdle, Poquette, Patek, and White. And again, Paul Splitorff, the left-hander, against Dennis Eckersley, the right-hander. Paul Splitorff finishing up the warm-up tosses. Oh, it was a night game, sure, but I'm playing it like it's a day game because that's just the way it is. And even as a night, you're talking 66, and we rolled a 15, so that would take it to 81. So I'm going to still call it a day game because it is a day game in this world because we're doing the Saturday game even though it was a Friday. Just the way it is. Hello, midlife. All right, because I printed the wrong score sheet. Plain and simple. I printed the score sheet for this week and next week back-to-back on the same paper, the save paper. Next week's score sheet, I do have the correct score sheet for next week on Saturday, July 29th, Philadelphia and Cincinnati. But when I printed this one off, I accidentally chose the 21st instead of the 22nd. Because I thought in my mind's eye when I looked at this game earlier, I thought it was Splitorff against Eckersley. So that's the game score sheet I went for, not realizing it was the 21st, not the 22nd. So, all right, so here we go. I've got my quick start guide. I haven't played in 2 weeks since the All-Star game because last Saturday I had the personal problems that were going on around the house. So we're going to get a shot at it now, and hopefully I don't forget too much. Captain, I'm glad you're here because you can set me straight, I'm sure, as well as other folks. Hello, Aaron, JK, good to see you. All right, we're ready to go here. Paul Splitorff facing Jerry Remy. Lefty on lefty matchup. And we get a 252, and that's Splitorff against a lefty. 252 is a redirect to a 592. That's a deep fly to right field. And we are checking the right fielder. In this case, it is Clint Hurdle. Clint Hurdle on a 592. I'm sorry, he's playing. Is he playing first base? No, it's his secondary position. So in right field, his secondary position, his arm is a 4. So we go to our secondary rating space defense, I should say. And it says here in the outfield, his range. We're looking at his range. So his range in right field is a 6. It says if the blue die is less than the range, then it's going to be an out. So there you go. Clint Hurdle makes the catch. He is playing out of position, not out of position, but using a secondary position. So we have to use the ratings-based defense. But Remy flies to right field, 1 away, and that brings up Dewey Evans, right fielder. That's a 342, and that's a non-split, and it's a strikeout. So he gets Dewey Evans out on strikes for out number 2. Next week, of course, we will be next week in Cincinnati for the Philadelphia Phillies and the Cincinnati Reds. And that will be Paul Moskow against Jim Lonborg will be the matchup there. All right, here's Jim Rice. That's a 269 again against a right-hander. 269 is a deep drive to left, and Rice is a 9. This does not look good. And remember, we're adding 1 because of the heat. So it's going to be a 9 plus the ones, the 10, plus these two numbers, and see what we get. If we get an 8 or higher, it's going to be a home run almost exclusively. That's only a 5, though. So a 15 is going to be a fly to left. So Splitorff pitched around that one. Rice didn't get all of it. And that's going to end the top of the first. In fact, I'll go and put 721 on here. Just can't believe I messed that one up, but I did. And I was already late getting started. I didn't really want to go down and print another score sheet and redo the lineups and all that stuff. So I just went with it. Hello, Jimmy Jam. Here's Dennis Eckersley. And leading off will be George Brett. Kind of strange to see him leading off, but he did steal 23 bases in 1978. Only had 9 home runs, so I guess his power game came later. Eckersley, 122. That's a redirect to a 322. And a 322 was an infield single for George Brett. How about that? And that's, again, another thing I forgot when I was getting everything ready was the base running tokens. So let me find those real quick, assuming I have them. I got them for the Red Sox. I don't think I have them for the Royals because I have not used the Royals yet. So we will just have to use generic tokens. That's all right. We can get by without the accoutrements. Without the fancy accoutrements, we can use regular accoutrements. And George Brett is on. Now, does he want to try to steal? The hold rating on Eckersley is a 0, and his speed is a 5. So that might be a good chance for him to get the lead. Actually, steal rating, that's what we go by. Steal rating is a 3. So 3 or higher, he's got 3 points higher than the hold rating. So let's see what we get here. He's got to beat a 10. So basically, if we roll a 7 or higher, he will get the lead. And we get a 7 around the number. So it's 10 against the 10. And that fits. So Brett now will steal. His speed is a 5. The catcher arm Fisk, his arm is a 5. So we got a 5 versus a 5. And again, these 3 dice have to total 10 or higher. And they do, definitely. But not all dice are higher than the catcher throw rating. It says here, yeah, I don't see anything about a pickoff or anything like that. So it's just a stolen base for George Brett. He's successful. Single and a stolen base. He gets in scoring position with nobody out for Hal McRae. Catcher fielding, okay. Catcher fielding for Fisk is a 6. I know there's at least one die that was a 4, so that's not going to be a throwing error, I don't believe. All right, here is Hal McRae. That's a 687. And remember, they are the home team, so they bump up by 10, make it 697. So we go to the fielding chart. 697 is going to be a walk. Actually, 687 actually cost him a run. That would have been a single with the runner scoring, but since we bump it up by 10, 697 gives it a walk. So it'll be first and second, nobody out. It does set up a double play. And now Peter Marshall's son or son-in-law or whatever, Pete Lecoq, is looking for the center square to see if he can't square up and get a base hit. That's a 136, and that's a redirect to a 336. And a 336 is an infield single. That's going to load the bases. Well, these redirects are not helping Eckersley at all. And the bases are loaded. It was a straight out son. Okay, it was not a stepson or a son-in-law, straight out son. All right, cool. All right. Hello, Triple G. Good to see you. All right, bases loaded, nobody out. The infield's back for the double play. They need outs. Here's A.O. Amos Otis. Eckersley really needs a strikeout. 177. It's a deep fly to left field, and that will score the run on a sacrifice fly with that plus sign there. So RBI on the sacrifice fly as Brett comes in to score. Rice had no chance. And the Royals take a 1-0 lead on the sac fly by Amos Otis. So runners at first and second, 1 out for Darrell Porter, the catcher. Eckersley trying to get out of this with just 1 run allowed if he can, but that might be trouble. That's a blue 9, and that's never good. Even for Dwight Evans, it's not good. 599 is a fielding check on Evans, but that does not look good at all. 599 is a single. Runner on second can challenge to come home. But I think against that 6 arm, and let's see what McRae runs. McRae runs at his speed's only a 4, so they're going to hold him up with the bases loaded. They're not going to challenge Dewey Evans. Probably not a wise move to do so. So the bases are loaded again for Clint Hurdle. Bases loaded, 1 out. A double play ball gets Eckersley out of the mess with just 1 run allowed. However, Eckersley in the 78 season gave up a 282 average to left-handed hitters, only 213 to right-handed hitters, which is not surprising while his only out was recorded against a right-handed batter, Amos Otis. We'll see what happens here. 325, and that's going to be a strikeout. So he gets a strikeout of Hurdle, a huge one. His first strikeout couldn't have come at a better time. And now here's Tom Poquette. He's going to leave the light on for you. And Eckersley's hoping to put his lights out right here. 385. 385 is going to be a 3-6 ground out. Well, we're just going to call it 3 unassisted with 2 outs. It would have been a double play, but it's just going to go 3 unassisted as George Scott takes it to bag himself. So all in all, Eckersley gets out of it pretty well in decent shape, only allowing the 1 run, and that could come back and bite the Royals, only scoring 1 run when they had a chance to pile it on Eckersley. Sometimes you don't get them early, you don't get them at all. But they lead 1-0 going to the second, and here is Yaz against Splitorff. Yaz, the designated hitter in this game. 640, and that's going to be on the ballpark with no adjustment. 640 is a 4-3 ground out. So he grounds out to Frank White, and there's 1 away. For Carlton Fisk. Maybe the Red Sox have all-star hangover because half their lineup was in the all-star game. Splitorff, 267 against a right-hander Fisk. 267 is a deep drive to left. That's trouble again. Deep drive to left. Fisk is a 7, makes him an 8 with that +1. So we're going to take 8 and add it to the blue and the white. See what we get. 8 and 8 is a 16. It's just a deep fly to left. So he, again, gets away with 1 as Fisk just missed it. 2 down, bases clear for Fred Lynn, lefty on lefty matchup. That's a 606. We're back to the ballpark card. 606 is a strikeout. So Paul Splitorff puts the K on Fred Lynn. His second strikeout of the game. And he's gone 6 up, 6 down against those Red Sox. We go to the bottom of the second. Still 1-0 KC without the Sunshine Band. And here's Freddie Patek to lead things off. Used to him being the leadoff guy because he steals so many bases. Stole 38 in 1978. Did get caught 11 times. See what he does here. That's a 660, but we're going to add 10 to it, make it 670 because the home team's batting. 670 is a bloop single. 660 would have been an out. So the fact that they're at home, that gave them the single that they needed. And now Patek may be looking to see what he can do by getting the lead. Should be pretty easy. He's a 5. They just need these 2 dice to add up to 5 or more. And they do. So he will get the lead. He will take the steal chance. His speed is a 5. And the arm of Fisk is also a 5. So these 3 dice have to add up to 10 or higher to be safe. And they do. So it's a stolen base for Freddie Patek. Second steal of the game for the Royals. And that'll bring up the number 9 man, Frank White. Eckersley, 551. That's right to the third baseman, Butch Hobson. And a 551 is a 5-4-3 double play. But the runner, good thing they stole second, stayed out of the double play. Runner will have to hold with the ball hit the third. One away, and that brings up back to George Brett. Brett single, stole second, and scored his first time up. Eckersley still off to a rough start, so to speak. 358 non-split. 358 is a fly ball to right field, and that's 2 away. 2 down for Hal McRae. And Captain, you can let me know, make sure I'm not reading anything into this. The 358 was a, oh, where'd it go? Thought it was 358. Did I not do a 358? Now I'm confused. Oh, right here, 358 was a fly to right field, but there is no plus signs or anything like that. So and you just confirmed it for me. Since there's no symbols there, it's just a fly to right and everybody holds. You don't read anything into it. You have to start having some symbols back here, like question marks or whatever to go. Question marks or exclamation points or plus signs. If you don't see that, it's just a shallow fly and drive on. Okay. That's what I was thinking, but I wanted to be sure. All right, here's Hal McRae. That's a 291, and that's going to be a deep drive to left field for Hal McRae. His power is a 6, but of course we're adding 1 makes it a 7. So a 7 added to these 2 right here on the deep drive to left. That's only a 5, makes it a 12. He just missed a double. He will do a deep fly to left field. That double would have scored a run, but he flies out to left to end the inning. So at the end of 2, it is still Kansas City 1 and Boston nothing. But the Red Sox are still in the game despite Eckersley not having his best stuff. And now Splitorff back out. He'll be facing the boomer, George Scott, followed by Hobson and Duffy, bottom third of the Red Sox order. We get a 417 against a left-hander Splitorff. 417 is a 6-3 ground out. No double play to worry about with nobody on. And that brings up Butch Hobson, third baseman. That's a 315. Non-split's a strikeout. That's out number 2, third strikeout for Splitorff. That brings up Frank Duffy, filling in, I guess, for the injured Burleson because he's not on the roster. Splitorff, 505, and that is a rare play, my friends. So we go to the rare play book with the bases empty. Rare play chart, whatever you want to call it. Bases empty, we go to page number 30. And start there and see what number we roll. If we roll a higher number, we'll flip to the next page. But it is a rare play chance. And we get a 667. Wow, big number. So we flip over to page 31, actually to 32 to get that high. So we go to 32. Let's go to page 32. And we're looking at 667. All right, we got to go even higher. Page 33. I didn't go far enough. Page 33. And look at 667. It's right here by itself. Single plus B exclamation point on a single down the right field line. Batter takes a wide turn to first. Right fielder throws behind the batter for the tag out 9-3. So how about that? Base hit for Duffy, but then he gets out at first base. It's hurdled through behind him. It's going to go 9-3, and that's going to end the inning. So pretty much a base running blunder there, as he is out 9-3. Quick thinking there by Hurdle. I'm sorry, by Hurdle, as he took him out. So that's going to do it for the Red Sox. Unfortunate base running there, if you're a Red Sox fan. Here's Pete Lecoq. He's going to come back out. Those rare plays, they can get you sometimes. Here's Lecoq. He singled his first trip. That's a 131, and that's going to be a redirect to a 331. 331 is an infield single for Pete Lecoq. So those redirects have been not helping Eckersley. In fact, I think every single one of them's been a base hit or a walk or something. It hasn't been an out like you'd hope. All right, here is Amos Otis. 474 against the right-hander Eckersley. 474 is a triple for Amos Otis. How about that? Amos Otis just cracks a triple. He's got both runs batted in as the sacrifice fly in the first inning produced a run, and now a triple produces a run. Nobody out, and it's 2-0 Royals. The infield will have to come in against Darrell Porter. That's a 246 against a left-hander. 246 is a deep drive to center field. Hello, Doug. Good to see you. Deep drive to center field for Porter. His power's an 8, but again, +1 due to the weather's a 9, and we're going and sent deep drive to center. We're going to add 9 to these 2 dice. We get a 6. That's 15. It's a fly ball center field R3 challenge. Run on third can challenge the center fielder's arm if they so desire for a sacrifice fly. The speed of Otis is a 6. That's pretty good. They probably will end up challenging that. Center fielder arm is Lynn. His arm is a 5. So you got the advantage there, 6-5. So they will challenge the arm. And, of course, on all challenges, you take these 3 dice, add them up, and they got to be greater than or equal to +10 of the arm of the outfielder. Arm is a 5, so he's got to beat equal or better 15. He starts with a 6, so these 3 dice have to total 9 or higher. And they do, so it's going to be a successful sacrifice fly. And that'll put another run on the board as Porter gets the sacrifice fly to bring in AO and make it 3-0. Favor the Royals. Base is clear, 1 out for Clint Hurdle. That's a 576. That's the ground ball to short. That's Duffy on a 576. Actually, he's playing short, so that's his secondary position. So we'll bring out the chart for the infield. The blue die is a 6. His arm at short is only a 2, so we don't go by that. Now we check range. His range is a 2, so that fails. We check fielding. He's a 7. It beats that, but it will be a single. Will not be an error. It'll be a single as Duffy unable to get to it. So a base hit for Clint Hurdle off of Duffy's not being able to get there. So Hurdle with the base hit. That brings up Poquette. 178, and that's a walk. So Eckersley will walk Poquette. He just has been off the entire game. The bullpen for the Red Sox is starting to get motivated and get active. And you don't usually see that in the third inning when Eckersley pitches, but he's just been off the whole game. Here's Patek. 195, and that is a bloop single to first, or bloop single rather, but with less than 2 outs, the runners had to hold to see if it was caught, so it's bases loaded. Still only 1 out. And Frank White, your batter, and the bullpen activity for the Red Sox. Look down in their bullpen, and they have right-hander Dick Drago is loosening in the bullpen for the Red Sox, as they may need it. White is your batter. Infield is in. They don't trust the double play. The infield is in. We get a 5-19. That's trouble. Eckersley, a 5-19 is a 1-base error. So it didn't matter where the infield was. Eckersley boots it. That's an error on the Red Sox. Scoring is Hurdle. And everybody else moves up. It's now 4-0 favor of the Royals, as Eckersley makes things worse by booting it. Here's George Brett. That is a 688. It's going to turn to a 698 with them being at home. And a 698 is a walk. So another walk. First he had an error with the bases loaded. Now we got a walk with the bases loaded to bring home a run. It's now 5-0. Ninth man to bat in the inning is Hal McRae. This will be the last batter Eckersley gets to face. I have this on 2 outs. I think it's only 1 out if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's only 1 out, not 2 outs. There's only 1 out, bases loaded. Infield looking for the double play now. See if it changes their luck. 278 against a right-hander. But that's just a deep drive to left field off of Eckersley. Maybe they left him in 1 batter too many. Power rating of McRae is a 6. You add 1, makes it a 7. And we'll see what happens here. 7 and 11. That's an 18. And that's a home run on a deep drive to left field. That's a grand salami right here. The ballpark temperature made the difference because that 1 extra degree gave him an extra point. The other point would have been a deep fly to left for a sacrifice fly. But that home run is going to be, well, you know what? I wonder if I should call that or not because, well, we've been using the +1 to beginning of the game, so I might as well stick with it. Grand salami, and that's it for Eckersley. He's done. He is done. Katie bar the door. Grand salami for Hal McRae. Drago's actually sat down. They're going to use their scrubs. They're not even going to use their best pitchers. They don't want to waste the time doing that. 8 runs in the inning for Kansas City. So it's an ugly game. I can tell you that already. Dennis Eckersley just did not have it. It seemed apparent from the get-go. He just didn't have it. So Alan Ripley, believe it or not, will be the new pitcher. Can't do any worse than Eckersley's doing. I think that's almost impossible. But they are batting around as Lecoq started the inning. He started things off with an innocent single, and it went from there. And, of course, the error by Eckersley didn't help either. So we've got a 472, and that Lecoq against a right-hander, 472. And that's a double to right field, so the hit parade continues. Lecoq has singled and doubled in this inning. Here's AO, Amos Otis. 668, but they're at Holmes, making it a 678. 678 is a single plus. That will score the run. So scoring is Lecoq. Base hit from Amos Otis. And the score, unfortunately for the Royals, is now 10-0. 9 runs in the inning. And just to hey D Smith, how you doing? And just to honor in homage of ID Jester, if they score a 10th run here, I will put an asterisk, just like the Strat computer that he ranted about. I'll say I'm unable to put double digits here. We got to put an asterisk. So here's Darryl Porter. That's a 473 against a righty. 473 is a triple for Porter. How about that? RBI triple for Porter, and now we do have double digits. 10 runs in the inning, still only 1 out. Unbelievable that this could happen. Infield obviously in, not that it matters. 193, and that's not going to help the cause. So that's a single to center field. That will score the run. Make it 11 runs this inning. And Poquette, your batter. I think the Red Sox had all-star hangover. Ripley, 448. Have to drop. I'm not sure what you mean by drop. Not sure what that means. 448 against a right-hander is a 4 to 6 fielder's choice for out number 2. Finally get another out. So, Captain, are you saying you have to leave, or are you saying I have to drop something on the score sheet, or you just have to leave? I'm not sure. Was there something I did incorrectly on the game? That's the one I want to make sure of. Here's Freddie Patek. 670, and of course it's 680 with the home team batting. So 680 is going to be a single plus. That'll put runners at the corners. And the threat continues. I've never had a game where the teams batted around 3 times, extra time. That would be something. Runners at the corners, 2 outs for Frank White. That's a 166, and that's a wild pitch. How about that? That scores another run on the wild pitch by Ripley. So he scores on the wild pitch. And that brings up Frank White again. Okay, it says we're back. So I believe we are back. Not that the Red Sox want us to be back, but it's the way it goes. Hello, Mr. Robert, RJL Network. Be sure to check out his channel. I don't know what you guys saw before the stream kaputted, but Jim Rice did hit a 2-out triple. So I don't know if you saw that or not. He rolled in this range, the 448 to 458 range, and got a 2-out triple. So he's on third with 2 outs. And Yastrzemski is the batter, and that's where we pick it up right there. That's a 351, and that's a non-split. It is a ground ball to second to end the inning. And yes, RJL, if you're looking at the score sheet, that 13 is not a misprint. It is a 14-0 ball game as we go to the bottom of the fourth. I was going to put an asterisk there just for our ID Jester to mock the Strat computer that isn't capable of using a double-digit number, but I decided to put the real number instead. So Ripley, who is the lamb to the slaughter to take up these innings, will be back out to face Hal McRae. 13 is not the most runs in a game, but certainly the most runs in an inning. I don't think I've ever had a double. I might have had a 10-run inning, but I've never had a 13-run inning. I mean, we were one batter away from batting around for the second time in the same inning, where one guy would bat 3 times. But that came close. 603 turns to 613 with the home team batting, and it's going to be a strikeout. So Alan Ripley strikes out McRae, 1 away to start the 4th inning. And that is the first inning of the game that the leadoff batter has been retired by the Red Sox. Here's Pete Lecoq. That's a 228. He's a lefty. 228 is a single. So base hit for Lecoq. He's 4 for 4, 3 singles and a double. 4 for 4, 228. Gave him the base hit. Again, if he'd been facing a righty, it would have been an out, but not a lefty. Here's Amos Otis. 253. That's against a right-hander. 253 is a deep drive to left. That's trouble. Otis's power is a 9. He had 22 home runs. Of course, with the +1 with the warm weather makes it a 10. We're going to add 10 to this and check the deep drive to left chart. Adding 10 to these white and blue dice. Oh, a 0. How about that? So we get a bloop single to first. Bloop single to first is going to mean only a 1-base advancement with less than 2 outs. So instead of a home run, Otis will go 3 for 3 with a triple and 2 singles and a sacrifice fly. So he still keeps his day pretty much perfect. Brings up Darryl Porter. He's got a single, a triple, and a sacrifice fly as well. 412 against a right-hander is a walk. That will load the bases. And here we go again. Bases are loaded. And here is Clint Hurdle. Yes, world's worst. Out of 13-run 3rd inning. And this inning is not looking much better for the Red Sox either. Already bases loaded with only 1 out. Infield looking for the double play. 674, but it goes to 684 with the home team. And a 684 is a single plus. That means all runners advance 2 bases, so 2 runs will score. Going to third is Porter. Scoring is Otis and Lecoq. It is now 16-0 Kansas City. And you wonder how long they can go for with Ripley. Might have a position player might have to pitch in this game. We never know. Here's Paquette. 318 for Paquette. And that is a deep fly to left field, and that will bring home the run. Sacrifice fly for Poquette. Third sacrifice fly of the game for the Royals in just 4 innings. Another run is in. It is now 17-0. Sounds like the Chiefs beat the Patriots. 17-0. Oh, the benches will be emptied, Brian. You can guarantee that. Here's Patek, 178. And a 178 is a bloop single. But again, with only 1 out, the runners will only go 1 base. So Patek is 4 for 4 with 4 singles. And that'll bring up Frank White. White's had a bad day. He's only 1 for 3. 112 is a fly ball to right field. Runner on second could try to challenge the throw, but you're already up that much. Why bother? So 2 down. Plus it's Dewey Evans out there, so why embarrass yourself? So here's George Brett. 608 turns to 618. And a 618 is a pop to second, and that's going to end the inning. That's going to probably do it for Ripley. So the Royals send 9 to the plate. They almost bat around again. They score 3 runs and make it a 17-0 ball game as we go to the top of the 5th. That's going to be it for Ripley. So let's see who's going to bring in, who the sacrificial lamb is now. Going forward, looks like Dick Drago is going to be coming on. Dick Drago will be the new pitcher for the Red Sox going forward. One good thing is as the visiting team, the Red Sox only have to cover 8 innings, not 9 innings. So that helps somewhat, I guess. All right, so Splitorff facing Carlton Fisk. Top of the 5th. Unbelievably, 17-0. 160. 160 is a fly ball to right field, 1 away. Can't believe how clean the Boston score sheet is where they're batting. See how clean that is. And you look at the mess that's down here. So, Freddie Lynn, your batter. Too bad Clay isn't here to see this carnage. 528. That's bad news for the catcher, Darryl Porter. 528, and that is going to be a pass ball, but nobody's on base, so it's not. So it ends up not being bad news because nobody's on base. So just count it as ball 1 and move on. That's when you know it's your day. 255 against a left-hander. That's a redirect to a 595. And a 595, we're looking at the right fielder Hurdle. Hurdle in right field. Again, we're using the secondary ratings-based defense because he's mainly listed as a first baseman, but he's playing right field in this one. So if we look at the outfielder range, his range is a 6. The blue die is a 5, so that means he will make the catch. Plain and simple. That's all you got to look at. He makes the catch. And there's nobody on base to worry about tagging up, so you don't have to worry about that either. It's just going to be a fly to right and be done with it. So 2 down. And that brings up the boomer, George Scott. In this game, Kenyon, if you don't pitch him in this game, when would you ever pitch him? So, yes, he's definitely going to get a chance to pitch in this game. No question about it. All right, 239. And Scott is a right-hander. 239 is a redirect to a 579. That could be trouble with that 9. That blue 9 is going to be all kinds of trouble. Left fielder's Poquette. So Poquette in left field, a 579 is going to be a single. Runner could challenge, but you're down 17-0. So why in the hell would you challenge? That ain't going to happen. That's just the second base hit of the game. Third base hit of the game, I'm sorry. Had a triple from Rice and a single from Duffy. So that's just the third base hit of the game. And here's Hobson. 203, and that's a redirect to a 403. 403 is going to be a base on balls. So Hobson will walk. And Splitorff has got to finish the inning to qualify for a win to get those 5 innings. His fatigue number is a 6, so he should be plenty good for that. Here's Duffy. 666. 666, and that's going to be a wild pitch. Wild pitch on Splitorff. That will move the runners up to second and third. Best chance the Red Sox have had to score with 2 on and 2 out. 2 in scoring position and 2 out. That's a 433 against a left-handed pitcher. A 4.33 is a fly ball to right field, and that's going to end the inning. So Red Sox will leave them on second and third. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. It is 17-0 in favor of the Royals. And the new pitcher for Boston will be Dick Drago. He gets the unenviable task of pitching in this game. He's going to be facing Hal McRae. Drago will be facing McRae to lead off. That's a 276 against a right-hander. 276 is a fly to right field. It would have been a deep drive against a lefty, but a righty just flies to right. So McRae is out of there. Actually, McRae's had a rough game. He had a home run. He hit the grand slam, but he's also made 3 outs in this game already in 5 innings. So here's Lecoq. 277. Lecoq's a lefty. 277 is a deep drive to right field for Lecoq. His power is only a 4, but we add 1 for the hot weather, makes it a 5. So we're going to add 5 to this number. Check the deep drive to right. 5 and a 3 is 8. Total of 8. He's going to get a bloop single. So a bloop single for Pete Lecoq. And Lecoq is 5 for 5 in 5 innings. I know I've never had that before. He is 5 for 5 in 5 innings. Unbelievable. That'll bring up Amos Otis. I at least want the starters to go 5 innings. Position player starters. 281. Don't want to empty the benches too quick. 281 is another fly ball to right field against a right-hander. That's out number 2. And here's Darrell Porter. Porter, 272. And 272 is another deep drive to right field. Porter's power is an 8. Make it a 9 with the hot weather. Adding 9 to this column. 9 and a 14 is a 23, and that is gone. Darrell Porter, a 2-run home run off the bat of Darrell Porter. And don't look now, folks. I've got a chance to get a cycle here. Porter has single, tripled, and homered. All I need him to get is a double, and I'll have my first ever cycle. So I know I'm not taking Darrell Porter out of the game. I might bring in everybody else for replacements, but I'm not taking Darrell Porter out because he's got a chance. All right, here is Clint Hurdle. 398, and that's a straight-up home run for Clint Hurdle. A straight-up home run. No, RJL, this is actually the game played on July 21st on a Friday. I picked the Friday game by mistake instead of the Saturday game, so it's from July 21st. It was Eckersley against Splitorff were the starters. So a home run by Mr. Hurdle. Back-to-back jacks. 3 more runs in the inning. It is now 20-0 Kansas City. I don't know what the record is that people have had in games where they've scored runs, but I know 20 is my record. That's for sure. Never had anybody score 20 runs, and we're only in the 5th inning. Here's Poquette. 113, and that's a redirect to a 313, and a fly to left ends the inning. But 3 more runs come in. Amazing they didn't score anything in the 2nd inning. But it is now 20-0 in favor of the Royals. So after the 6th inning, I'll be making wholesale substitutions on both sides probably. So Splitorff will face Jerry Remy, top of the order. That's a 444 against a left-hander. 444 is a strikeout. It's been a while since we had a strikeout. Only the 4th strikeout for Splitorff. We only had one strikeout. I'm sorry, 2 strikeouts of Royals batters. They've only struck out twice this game. Here's Dewey Evans. 228 against a right-hander. 228. 228 is a 5-3 ground out, so he grounds it to Brett. 2 down. For Jim Rice, he did triple last time up. 136, and that will be a fly to right to end the inning. So 6 shutout innings for Paul Splitorff. And now we go to the bottom of the 6th. Drago will be facing Patek, White, and Brett. And then in the 7th inning, we'll be bringing in whatever subs they have to bring in. Drago to Patek, 198, and that is a bloop double. Bloop double for Freddie Patek. I'm curious to see how many hits they have in this game. Patek is now 5 for 5. So we got Patek 5 for 5. We got Lecoq 5 for 5. And here's Frank White. 154, and that is a fly ball to left, 1 away. Red Sox probably wish right now they were at a Coldplay concert on the Kiss Cam. Would be in less compromising position than where they are right now. Here's George Brett. 126, and that's going to be a redirect to a 326, and that's a pop up to third base, out number 2. That'll bring up McRae. 636, it bumps up to a 646, and that's going to be a 5-3 ground out to end the inning. Finally, a 0 goes on the board. And that's going to do it for Mr. Drago as well. He will be finished. He'll go 2 innings. And they'll bring in another unfortunate soul to pitch going forward. So now let's go to the Royal bench, and let's start emptying the bench. And let's see who we can use. The only problem is the Royals and the Red Sox both have the blue coloring, so if I get them mixed up, it's going to be hard to tell who's doing what. So the only guy I'm not taking out for sure is Porter. He's got to stay in the game. I'll probably keep Lecoq in the game because he's 5 for 5, so I don't really want to take him out. Let's see here. Who's in left field? Poquette. We're going to bring in Willie Wilson for Poquette. So Wilson will take over in left field for Poquette. UL Washington will come over and play shortstop for Patek. Oh, I don't want to take Patek out either because he is 5 for 5. Could bring him in and play second base. Let's see how we want to play this. You got Jerry Terrell that could come in and play second base. So Jerry Terrell is going to come in for Frank White. Jerry Terrell coming and play second base for Frank White. Let's see who else they might use. Right field is Hurdle. He's 4 for 5. Left field is, we've already got left field covered. I don't really want to take anybody else out. That's the problem. Yeah, I'm going to leave everybody else in there for now. Just those couple of moves. Terrell takes the place of Frank White. And Wilson will take the place of Poquette. So White and Poquette get the rest of the game off for now. We'll do more changes later. Royals will go ahead and pull Splitorff and bring in somebody else to pitch. They'll bring in Marty Patton. Don't worry, McGilberry will get in the game. I will not let Patton go 3 innings and get a cheap save when it's 20-something to nothing. That's not going to happen on my watch. So Marty Patton is on. And let's check the Red Sox and see if they want to do any wholesale changes on their side. Yastrzemski is the DH. They could bring in somebody to DH for Yastrzemski. And let's see, we got right fielder Hancock to come in for Evans, possibly. Yep, so Gary Hancock's going to come in for Evans and take over in right field. Give Evans the rest of the game off. Let's see here. Bob Bailey is going to come in and play third base and give Hobson the rest of the game off as a third baseman. Let's see. It looks like, who else do we want to take out of here? All right, so Evans and Hobson are gone, replaced by Bailey and Hancock. Gotta make sure they're in the correct order here. Brohammer. Brohammer will take over for Remy at second base. And if it gets a fielding check, I'll go to the alternate fielding or secondary fielding for him. So Brohammer will take over for Remy. So Jerry Remy will get the rest of the game off. Let's see how else they want to do it. Anybody else they want to bring in? They got Montgomery and Kendall. I think they'll leave it at that for now. But Remy, Hobson, and Evans all getting the rest of the game off for the Red Sox. All right, so the Red Sox lineup now going forward. Yastrzemski, DH, Fisk catching, Lynn in center, Scott at first, Bailey at third will bat eighth, Duffy bats ninth. Brohammer hits leadoff. Hancock in right field hits second, and Jim Rice hits third. Okay, so now we're straight with Marty Pat. All right, so all those wholesale changes, and doesn't mean the other guys won't eventually get in the game because they probably will. And on the Red Sox, pitching-wise, they're going to let, with Drago coming out, they're going to have the only guys they have left to pitch, if I'm looking at this correctly, is Bob Stanley or Tom Bergmeyer or Bill Campbell. Those three guys. Stanley more their closer, so they're not going to have Stanley in the game. But they could use, let's see, looks like Bill Campbell will be the new pitcher for Boston in the seventh inning. So Bill Campbell will be the pitcher in the seventh inning for the Red Sox. All right, so we got some, not completely wholesale changes, but they're pretty decent kind of changes. Give some guys some chances. Yastrzemski at the plate. As a veteran, I don't want to take Yastrzemski out of the game. Or maybe we will. He's 0 for 2. Why not take him out? He hasn't done anything. What's the point of having him in there? We're going to have Bob Montgomery come in and pinch hit. He'll stay in the game to DH. That's another change. Bob Montgomery with no helmet will come in and DH the rest of the way. It's 20-0, so why not? So Bob Montgomery actually will be the leadoff man here against Marty Pat. How about that? That's a 6.34 for Montgomery. 6.34 is a 3-1 ground out, or actually 3 unassisted, we'll call it. So easy play there for the first baseman, Pete Lecoq. 1 away, and here's Carlton Fisk. That's a 1-0-1, so redirect to a 3-0-1, which is a strikeout. Out number 2 for Freddie Lynn. 248, left-hander, 248 is a fly ball to right field. Look at all these deep drives, and he found the fly ball to right field. Just the kind of day it's been for the Red Sox. Nothing doing for them. It is still 20-0. We will now go to the bottom of the 7th for Bill Campbell. And he'll be facing Lecoq, Otis, and Porter. But we are at the 7th inning stretch, so probably after all these runs, I need a stretch. And we're going to go take me out to the ball game. All right, seventh inning stretch is in the books. And for those that came in late, the game next Saturday, NBC Game of the Week, will be in Cincinnati. It'll be the July 28th game, Philadelphia against Cincinnati, Jim Lonborg against Paul Moscow. That will be the game next Saturday, for those that are curious. We'll be back to the National League with the pitchers hitting and all that good stuff. All right, so Pete Lecoq is 5 for 5. 4 singles and a double. That's a 435. And against a right-handed pitcher, 4.35 is a 4-3 ground out. So Pete Lecoq makes his first out of the game. And here's Amos Otis. Otis, my man. That's a 660, improves to a 670 with the home team. And a 670 is a bloop single. So yet another hit for the Kansas City Royals. And Amos Otis is now 4 for 5. 3 singles and a triple. And here comes Darrell Porter. He is a double away from the cycle. I've never had a double. If he gets a 462 to 470, there's a good chance of a double there. Maybe a double on a deep drive, or a bloop double here at the bottom, or a double here. There's a couple places you can get a double, maybe on the ballpark card as well. But that's what he's shooting for, is that double to get the cycle. That's a 364, and that's not going to do it. That's a 4-3 ground out. That will advance the runner. We're out number 2. And again, I come up short on a cycle. Here's Clint Hurdle. 488 against a right-handed pitcher. 488 is a deep fly to center field to end the inning. And so Bill Campbell pitches a shutout inning. And we go to the top of the 8th. Score remains 20-0. Marty Patton for his second inning of work, and McGilberry will be coming in to pitch the 9th for the Royals. George Scott is your batter, followed by Bailey and Duffy. 441. It's a right-hander, is a 6-3 ground out. 1 away. Bob Bailey gets his first crack at the plate. 331, and that's going to be a strikeout. Struck him out. Here's Frank Duffy. 533. We're checking the first baseman, in this case, Pete Lecoq, on a 533. And a 533 is a 3 unassisted ground out. So he'll make the play himself, and that'll do it for Marty Patton. He will go 2 innings. Like I said, there's no way in hell I'm letting him pitch 3 innings to get a save in a 20-0 game. So that's it for Marty Patton. And the darling of the roster right now, Randy McGilberry, will get to pitch the 9th inning for the Royals to see if he can keep the shutout going. So Splitorff went 6, Patton went 2. Bottom of the 8th. Due up for the Royals is Willie Wilson, Freddie Patek, and Jerry Terrell. Against, well, Bill Campbell will come out because he only has a fatigue of 1, and they will go to Bergmeyer. The left-hander Bergmeyer will come in and pitch for the Red Sox. As soon as I can find his card. Mixed in here somewhere. I think that's it right here. Yep, there he is. Tom Bergmeyer, left-hander. Bottom of the order, Wilson, Patek, and Terrell. First at bat for Wilson since taking over for Poquette. .605 turns to 615, and that's going to be a pop up to second base. 1 away. And that'll send it to Mr. Patek. That's a 127, and that's going to be a fly to right field for out number 2. And first at bat for Jerry Terrell, since taking over for Frank White. That's a 588. That's a fly ball to center field for Fred Lynn. Could be trouble with that 8 out there. Fred Lynn on a 588 is going to be a single. It's going to drop in for a single. So Jerry Terrell gets on the hit parade with the base hit. And here comes Brett. Amazingly, Brett, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This will be his 7th plate appearance, 6th at bat because he did walk. But he's only 1 for 5 in this game. Out of all these hits, he's 1 for 5. That's a 607, turns into 617, and that will be a pop to second, and that will end the inning. I think it's safe to go ahead and put the X here. I think that's pretty safe. So Bergmeyer pitches his 1 inning and gets out of any particular trouble. So we've got 20 runs for the Royals. I want to count up their base hits now and get those out of the way. Bergmeyer's done, and Randy McGilberry will come in and pitch the top of the 9th for the Royals. And he will be facing Brohammer, Hancock, and Rice. Brohammer, Hancock, and Rice, their first at-bats in the 9th inning. Let's check the hits for the Royals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I've got them for 24 hits. That's what I have so far. No errors because Royals have not made an error. Of course, they could make one in the 9th, but not likely. So here's McGilberry. He was 0-1 with a 421 earned run average in 18 games. Facing Brohammer, 140, and a 140 is going to be a pop-up to third, out number 1. Pop up to third. So 1 down, and that's going to bring up Hancock. That's a 217 against a left-handed hitter. That's a redirect to a 417, and that's a line drive to right field for out number 2. So McGilberry 1 out away from a 1-2-3 9th inning. Rice 155, and that's going to be a walk. So he couldn't quite get the 1-2-3 inning. He will walk Rice. And RJL is saying, will there be any 9th inning magic? Here's Montgomery. He came in for Yastrzemski, and he's 0 for 1 as a DH. 604, and there's no change to that. 604 is a 4-3 ground out. Would have been a double play otherwise, and the ball game is over. So 20-0 is the final. Hits for the Red Sox, there weren't that many of them. 1, 2, 3. I only have them for 3 hits. A single by Scott, a single by Duffy, and a triple by Rice. That's all I've got. 3 hits. Amazing. Line score 20, 24-0 for the Royals, 0-3-1 for the Red Sox. Losing pitcher Eckersley, winning pitcher is Splitorff. And that is a Boston massacre if I've ever seen one. Hey, Joel. Yeah, it's I don't like those games, but they happen. Maybe it's what I get for playing the wrong game. I'm actually playing Friday's game instead of Saturday's game because that's the score sheet I printed out. It actually was a good pitching matchup. Eckersley and Splitorff should have been a good pitching matchup. I mean, it should have been, but Eckersley just didn't have it. So there you go. There is the score sheet extraordinaire for Kansas City. And unfortunately, I was going for that cycle, a triple, a single, and a home run for Porter, but on his last chance to get the cycle, he grounded out to second. So I'm still without a cycle. And I got a 5-hit game for several players, but do not have a 6-hit game. So But 20 runs and 24 hits are records for me in any game. So you saw history there, I guess, if you want to call it that. But Boston is glad that game's over with. They want to get out of town as fast as they can. Next Saturday, of course, will be in Cincinnati. It'll be the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Cincinnati Reds from Riverfront Stadium, or as RJL calls it, the stadium in front of the river. It'll be Paul Moskow against Jim Lonborg in that game. So that'll be next Saturday. Tomorrow night, if not tonight, then tomorrow, we will have Game 4 of the Sparky Bowl. The 1976 Reds against the 1984 Tigers. The Reds lead that series 2-1. Game 4 in Detroit will pit Jack Morris, I believe, against Gary Nolan. I believe that's the pitching matchup. And we shall see what happens there. Must-win game for the Tigers. They don't want to go down 3-1. So I appreciate all you guys hanging in there through all this fiasco. Oh, okay, Brian, that's a good. I'll check out the box score in that game before next week's game. I'll be better prepared. I'll have my running my little base running tokens and my benches and bullpen printouts and all that stuff for next week. I was just a little bit unprepared this week because of all the stuff going on. And that's why I was even 15 minutes late getting this game going, because I just had a lot of stuff going on and trying to get done. So a lot of honeydew stuff that needs to get done. But we made it through, and I actually did print the correct stadium. So we do have Royal Stadium here, although the picture shows it's kind of disappointing. I would think to have a picture of a AstroTurf field here, but I don't guess that really matters. But just for aesthetics, just things I notice. I don't know. I just notice stuff like that. Probably unimportant to most individuals. So I'm going to go ahead, actually now while I'm thinking about it, I'm going to go ahead and print up the benches and bullpens for the ball game between the Reds and the Phillies so that I'm all ready to go for next Saturday. And be sure to check out RJL. Who you got tonight, RJL? Who's playing tonight? I know Red Sox Yankees was last night. Who do you got tonight? And is it still going to be 8 o'clock, or since you're all, because you're still working today, aren't you? So I guess it would be 8 o'clock most likely, because you seem to go for those later times depending on your work schedule. But oh, sorry to hear that. World's worst. Yeah, my printer or my device that spews out paper. So I didn't use the P word. My device that prints out paper. Mariners Rays. Okay, cool, good deal. I admit I'm not that familiar with the '99 season. I wasn't watching baseball back then. I was sick of the steroid crap and just never followed it. I didn't really pick it up again until Moneyball. That's when I really started picking it. Actually, I picked it up in the 2001 World Series. That's when I really picked it up, right after 9/11 and Arizona and the Yankees. That World Series kind of caught my attention. And then that got me back into baseball to 2002 with the Moneyball A's and the Rally Monkey Angels and all that stuff. And then the Bartman game in 2003, and then the Red Sox winning their first World Series in 2004. So all that kind of got me going there and got me back into it a little bit. Up until 2019. Then after 2019, once the COVID hit and the shortened season and all the rule changes, that's when I kind of got away from following modern baseball. Although I did watch highlights last night of this guy from Oakland that had 4 home runs, and I believe it was 8 runs batted in. I think they called him, they gave a nickname like the Amish Superman or something like that. I guess maybe he's Amish or something. I don't know. I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's for Oakland. And he had 4 home runs as they pummeled Houston. But I saw the highlights of that. That was pretty interesting. As a rookie, as far as I know. Like I said, I'm not following those modern games, so I don't really know. Kurtz, that's it. Yeah, Adam Kurtz or something. Aaron Kurtz, Adam Kurtz, something like that. I don't know. Kurtz and Way, maybe. That's what Chris Berman would probably call him. Kurtz and Way, that would be his Chris Berman name, most likely. So anyway, be sure to check out RJL tonight for the Rays and the Mariners on Inside Pitch 1999. Depending on how late he plays that game and how late it goes, I may do the Sparky Bowl after that game. If not, it will be Sunday night. And we'll do the Sparky Bowl game number 4 then. At some point, I will do another Stratomatic game. I might start recording some of those so I can get them out a little faster. I don't know. Yeah, Kurt Stone it. That's a good one, Chuck. I like that one. You can probably come up with several names, I'm sure. So I don't know, but anyway, I guess if he had a daughter and the daughter married somebody with the last name of Douglas, her married name could be Kurtz Douglas. But that would be interesting, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, that's gonna do it from here. I need to clean up all these cards all over the place and the mess that they created. And there you go, the record score 20 to nothing. Kansas City over Boston. 20 runs, 24 hits, and no errors for the Royals. No runs, 3 hits, and 1 error for the Red Sox. And a record 13-run third inning. So that's going to do it from here. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend planned, whatever you got planned. But if you can find the time, check out RJL's game tonight on Inside Pitch 1999. As RJL would say, be there or be square. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.